Good evening. This is your girl, Miss Darcy, again, coming to you right from the classroom. The last time we spoke, I talked to you about setting up your classroom. Okay, so after you set up your classroom, you decide where your desk will be, and I talked about your area, the students' area, alternate students' area, and a small group area, or if you have different stations. Decide where you want all that set up in the classroom. Now, once you do that, your classroom is ready. So now you have your plans, you have prepared your lesson, you have prepared your classroom. You're almost ready for the students. The next thing you need to do is to find out your school's emergency procedures. Where do you go? What do you do for a fire drill? What do you need to have in case of an emergency? I'm sure all schools are the same. You need to have your class roster. If you switch classes, you need to make sure you have your rosters for every class because emergencies can happen at any time during the school day. So make sure you have your rosters where you can easily get to them. Now, mine, I have an emergency roster set up on my board. It is right on the edge of the board by the exit door. So when I'm going out, well, actually, I have it on both sides. I have an enter door and an exit door. So I have my emergency rosters by each door. So because in case of emergency, you just want to get out as quick as you can. Don't run, but you want to get out as quick as you can, and you want everything to flow as smoothly as possible. So have it in a place where you can grab it and go. And when you get to your designated area, you're able to call the roll, make sure all your students are there. Now, in case of other emergencies like tornado drills, you have lockdown. For those emergency drills like that, because you don't know if it's going to be a drill or a real thing. So make sure you have your roster with you. Make sure you know what to do. Make sure you know the code for when they call the emergency, you'll know what to do. Make sure you explain this to your students so they know the procedures. And when they know ahead of time, they may forget, but just remind them. Everything will flow smoother when those things happen because you have drills where you're practicing these emergency procedures. So they will get them, but they need to practice them the correct way so they can get them. And that way you can lessen the problems during a real emergency. So you want to make sure you know the emergency procedures and then relay that to your students so they would know them. That's all a part of the first couple of days of school, getting things ready and preparing your students. So once you knock those three big things out of the way, now it's time for you to start your lesson in the class. Okay. Now I know a lot of teachers, they take anywhere from a week to 2 weeks to go over procedures and expectations. Don't do that because the kids see that throughout the day. Within the first 2 days of school, they have gone to their teachers, and this is if they switch classes. Now, if they only see one teacher, you've gone over it once or twice. Now it's just practice. Now, you practice it throughout the school year, they will get it. You don't have to take a whole week at the start of the school year or whenever you start your teach because some teachers go into the classroom mid-year, so it's like your first days of school. To get them to know you, to know your procedures and expectation, it doesn't take that long. If you take forever to do this, just starting a lesson, all you're doing is making the class chaotic, and the kids would just they're gonna start tuning you out. Then here comes the negative behaviors. Okay, so if you are prepared to start your lesson, I would say on the third day, usually I'm on the second day, on the third day of school, or whenever you start the teaching job, you need to be ready to start your lesson. And this will cut down on the negative behavior. Once they see you mean business and you're serious about the job, they will start to comply. Now, I know things are different than what they used to be because I started teaching some years ago. And now it's like it's difficult to get the kids to learn, or it's difficult to motivate them to learn. But you still need to be on your job and at your best to still try to motivate them. Because if you're not at your best as the teacher, the students will see right through that. They're going to start to cause problems. So get yourself right first, and then you can work on getting the students right. And that's get motivating them to learn and to be engaged in the lesson. So when you plan your lesson, plan some engaging lessons and practice the procedures that you have and the expectations you want. Once that happens, and once you establish a routine, things will flow much better. And you do want your day to flow smoothly. You want them to be able to transition from task to task and from class to class if they switch classes. So plan and prepare. Do not take forever to start your curriculum, to start your lessons. And you can handle all the other things as they come. All right. So that is all I have for you today. And with that being said, that's the Darcy way.